In this video, we're covering 3 possible reasons why a driver would be oblivious of oncoming traffic and cross directly into the path of such a vehicle. In the first animation, we're having a look at what is really covered in more detail in just the previous video on blindly following others through an intersection. So you can have a look at that previous video to get more information. And this is where a driver just follows the driver ahead of him. So when the driver ahead of him passes through the intersection, the driver behind thinks that it's safe to do so and doesn't check out for any oncoming vehicles, just blindly follows the driver ahead and lands up in a possible collision in the center of the intersection. That's what happens in this animation. So that's one possible reason for the obliviousness of a driver. He just assumes that it's safe to go ahead because the driver ahead of him had done so successfully. In the real life clip, we see exactly this. Got an oncoming vehicle, a vehicle turning through the intersection, and so the driver behind this vehicle just assumes that it's safe for him to do likewise. In the second animation, it's a little bit different because we don't have a driver or a vehicle ahead of the driver of the red vehicle. Visibility is open and clear. However, because the vehicle coming from the opposite direction is speeding, that would be one cause why such a driver would be oblivious, perhaps not in expectation of any speeding vehicles, and so just assumes as he gets closer to the intersection that it's safe for him to cross. So it could be the speeding of a vehicle, and it could also be the color of a vehicle. So we'll see in this animation that the vehicle that is speeding and approaching the intersection is a darker colored vehicle. I do have a section on the website which covers the colors of vehicles and what their potential hazard is on the road. So they don't have that same safety factor in being as noticeable on the road. I'll put a link to that page in the website in the description of the video below, so you can go have a look at that section, compare your color vehicle and see how safe your vehicle is on the road. But that's another potential reason as to why a driver would be oblivious of the existence of an oncoming vehicle. There we go. So the driver of the black vehicle traveling at speed and perhaps also not as noticeable because of the color of the vehicle. In the real life clip, we'll see that some vehicles are passing through the intersection and an oncoming vehicle is traveling at a fairly rapid rate. So because of the speed of this vehicle, this driver possibly wasn't anticipating that and was oblivious of the threat that was posed. In this third and last animation, a little bit similar to the previous animation, excepting the driver of the green vehicle is traveling at a normal speed. The color of the vehicle makes it quite visible on the road, so there's absolutely no excuse as to why the driver of the red vehicle should not have seen the driver of the green vehicle. Now, this is a point that we've touched on a few times in previous videos as well, and it could be a phenomenon which is known as cognitive dissonance or cognitive disconnect. And what that means is that the driver could have a lot on his mind, and so although physically he's able to see what's happening around him, his mind, because it's preoccupied with perhaps a serious problem that he's trying to weigh up and contemplate, his mind doesn't perceive what his eyes see. And because of that, he doesn't really notice an oncoming vehicle, although he can physically see the vehicle, but his mind doesn't register that because his mind's preoccupied with maybe something that's a lot more pressing, a much more serious problem. And because of that, lands up colliding in the intersection anyway. So it's good for us to be aware of this phenomenon, because as we're moving deeper into the days that lie ahead, the world is facing more and more serious problems. Economically, perhaps people aren't as well off as what they used to be. Perhaps they're facing a lot of pressure within their own lives as the days become more and more difficult. And because of that, their minds aren't focused on what's happening on the road. So as we're driving along, we might expect, if we're the driver of the green vehicle, that any oncoming vehicle would easily be able to see us. There's nothing blocking the visibility, no other distractions on the road at all. Color of the vehicle is quite a luminescent green, so should be easily visible. And yet, despite all of that, the driver of the red vehicle still collides in the intersection. In this real life clip, we've got an approaching vehicle, got the headlights on, and so we can see within this vicinity there are no other vehicles or anything else to impede the view or visibility of this oncoming vehicle. And despite that, and it being so noticeable with the headlights on, the camera still nonetheless turns into the path of this oncoming vehicle. And one just wonders why a driver is not able to notice what's happening on the roads. And it could be for any of the reasons mentioned in the animations, those three individual reasons. It could be a host of other reasons that perhaps we're not even aware of. But don't just assume on the roads that people will have seen you.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.